Good morning. Welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox. Been thinking this morning about bug out bags. You've got one, right? I mean, all preppers have bug out bags. It's like one of the first steps in the survivalist process, right? Is to put yourself together a bug out bag. Even the Department of Homeland Security, FEMA, and the Red Cross all tell you guys to put one together, right? Put together a 72-hour kit, something easy to carry. It's a bug out bag. If you go on YouTube and you just type in bug out bag, there are videos for days. And most people are well-intentioned, but they don't know what they're doing, right? And so I thought I'd talk about that a little bit. There's a lot of people who are preppers who don't have very good bug out bags, and yet there are people who are not preppers who have great bug out bags. You know who they are? Hikers. I used to fantasize about hiking the Appalachian Trail, and I thought at one time that I was going to do that, and so I got on this forum. It's something like whiteblazeforums.net or whiteblaze.net, because the Appalachian Trail, the AT, is marked with these white blazes, and so there's a lot of people on there that talk about the AT. And with the advent of these phones, people blog their trip on the AT. And what are those guys doing, and gals? They're carrying everything they need on their back, and they're moving, right? And so even if they're not preppers or survivalists or whatever, they understand in theory how to carry what you need on your back. And I guess that's my first point about bug out bags. A lot of people have bug out bags and they can't carry them. They've never tried to carry it. They can't go anywhere with it. We're a car society, and that has benefited us as a nation. These interstate highways and the fact that we can drive and things like that. And I think a lot of us fantasize about grabbing our BoB out of the garage and oofing it into the vehicle, probably the SUV, right? And then taking off. Okay, that's not a bad plan. But at some point, you have to be prepared to leave your SUV sitting there dying or stuck on the side of the road, grab your bug out bag, your BoB, put it on your shoulder, and move out. And here at Viking Preparedness, we have hosted for 11 years now we call it the National Winter BoB Exercise, right? And it's basically usually in a January or February time frame, and we get together and we live out of our bug out bags, our BoBs, for about 4 days, 3 nights, 4 days, and people love it. But what I see every year is that people carry bags that are much too heavy. And in BoB theory, we're trying to get from where we no longer can be for a variety of reasons. It sucks here, we got to go, over to there, right? And who came up with 3 days? You have to have 3 days of stuff. Well, one reason is it's pretty hard to carry more than 3 days worth of food, right? Even having said that, there'll be people on here saying people on the AT hike 10 days, right? They also don't carry a lot of other stuff that, we would probably want. But be that as it may, most people can't carry their bug out bag with 3 days worth of food in it. They really can't. They can't carry it all day. And so I guess the first thing I want to talk to you about or recommend to you, is get in shape. Start taking your BoB for a walk. Take it out on the weekend. Take it out during the week when you walk your dog. Throw your rucksack on and walk around. I see some people doing that I know exactly what they're doing, and it's smart. So get comfortable with that, as we used to call it in the Army, the big green tick on your back. So that's number one, get in shape. Number two, on YouTube especially, but I've seen it here, and I've seen it other places when we have like bug out bag layouts, which are fun. There's brand new gear in there, and it's still in the wrappers and stuff. They don't want to get their gear dirty. I guess having a piece of brand new gear would be okay if you have another one that's battered and used, well used, and you know your way around it, and you just want to start out with a brand new one. But, I've got my brand new Mora knife here, but I've got this other one just like it that I use every day. That would be different. But I really get the impression that most people never have used the gear that's in their BoB. Use your gear. Well, I used to teach, I still do, I just haven't done it for a while, wilderness survival, and we talk about survival kits. We're just talking a little kit, right? And I tell everybody, make two. Make two kits, the one that you keep, that you carry with you, and the other one that you go out and practice with and play with and learn your way around. You got to do that. One reason we have the National Bug Out Bag Camp Out exercise is so that people use their gear. Because if you don't use it, you're not going to know what to do with it when you need to. So get in shape, use your gear. That's the second thing. With bug out bags, you really need a plan of where you're going to go. And that's not as easy as ordering stuff on Amazon, or going to Walmart and buying stuff and stacking it up in the bedroom and packing it and having fun and shooting a video. But you really do have to have a plan for where you're going to go. You should have a couple plans, really. And a lot of people don't do that, and they come back with, well, there's no place for me to go. Well, you're going to have to go someplace if your place becomes untenable. So you might as well pick the best place now, off the top of your head, and start developing ways to get there, and what you're going to do once you get there. It's a visualization exercise, and then it becomes a planning exercise, and you get down and actually break out the maps and stuff. And so I recommend you do that. If you ever have to use your bug out bag, it'll be, it could be a very scary thing, right? And life as you know it will probably be changed significantly. And one thing you may have to do is not walk on the roads. You might have to walk through the woods. And so I recommend that you learn land navigation. In a lot of metropolitan areas, there are orienteering clubs. And they're basically map and compass clubs that meet on weekends, and they go tearing through the woods. I really recommend you go check out some of their events. They're good for beginners, they welcome new people, and they're good for really fit super orienteers, people who are really good with map and compass and go running through the woods. But you'll really learn how to use your map and compass, and it's not very much money, and it's a good thing to do. It's kind of fun. You can take the whole family. So if you don't know how to use a map and compass, I recommend you do that. You need to learn how to read a map. You need to learn how to use a compass. Not the one on your phone, not your little GPS, but a real one. Because this stuff right here, this technology, it's going to go away. All right, so I told you got to have a plan. Well, you know me if you've watched any of my videos, and I have videos on BoBs in the back. You can see my bug out bags. We have several different kinds, and my wife and I recently took a trip about 5 hours away from here, and then we came back 5 hours, and I did not carry my full BoB because it took up too much room. But we have 2 mini BoBs that we carry that are basically the size of 3-day packs, and they have enough gear in them for us to survive. And which is another point. All right, I'll just bring that up too. A BoB, you shouldn't have this BoB, this bag of gear, that if I don't have this, I will die. You really should develop the skill sets that this helps you survive. Example, everyone here on Shofar Mountain walks around all the time with a knife and a lighter. Nobody here smokes, right? But we all carry a lighter and we all carry a knife. These are basic tools. I can make fire with sticks. I can do bow drill fires, hand drill fires, that kind of thing. I can make fires with all kinds of sparks. But it's a whole lot easier when you can flick a bic. I have made knives out of stone. I have made knives out of pieces of plastic, out of pieces of metal, things like that. I can make knives. But man, having a knife is sure nice, right? And with those two things, life's pretty good. And I can get going pretty quick on making life better out in the woods. Why is that? Because I have a lot of skill sets, right? Doesn't make me Superman. It just means I've invested the time, and sometimes your taxpayer dollars helped pay for the training that I received. And I recommend that y'all go out there and get comfortable in the woods. Get comfortable if you just walk off into the woods, walk off into those woods, and then tell yourself, okay, I can't come back till tomorrow. What would I do? Right now with what I have on me, what would I do? And you should be able to do okay. And you can get training on that, and you can teach yourself a lot. One of the things I think too many of us do, and I'm guilty as everybody else, is we read something cool in a magazine, or we see something cool on YouTube, or something like that, right, or a book, and we think, yeah, that's neat, I could probably do that. But then we never go try it. Right? You have to go practice and fail and practice and fail and practice and get it okay and practice and get it, and then keep doing it until it becomes second nature. And so for survival skills, I recommend that you get those down. But anyway, my wife and I were traveling, and we have these 2 little BoBs that have basic things in them, and I've shown you some of those on, I have 600 videos. You can go back and find them. But we started thinking, okay, I always hit the thing, don't just make a BoB and think you're going to go be Batman in the boondocks, or you're going to be some mountain man or something like that and live forever out in the woods, because it really is a fantasy. And I go into that in other videos too. But what if, just what if it was some horrific thing? You know, Yellowstone goes off in conjunction with a comet or an asteroid hitting the Earth, and an asteroid, and you know, there's earthquakes, and it's just, man, there's chaos and there is no place to go. And you're basically a refugee with a bag. Bad situation. You don't want this to happen. But what if you were? Right? And that's why I tell people, have a place to go, have a backup, and have a backup to your backup, because that is much better than being a refugee. But what if all those go away? And so that's the talk my wife and I were having. And we were saying, hey, we should design, develop, discuss a long-term bug-out bag. And what would we put in that? You know, it does no good to put food in this bag because we're talking long term. So you can't carry 6 months of food, so don't even worry about food in this bag. Don't worry about, you know, what else did we talk about? Toothpaste, right? Because toothpaste, all the expendables, toilet paper, all that stuff comes out of this bag. This is a bag that's just for long-term use. You know, think about, I'm going to be using this bag for the next 6 months, and if whatever's in here won't last 6 months, we're not going to put it in the bag. That was kind of the intellectual starting point, if you will, for what we were doing. And so we made a big list. My wife was actually writing on the back of an envelope while I was driving. And then when we got done and I looked at it, I thought, oh, this is pretty cool. I'm going to write about this. Maybe we'll actually produce one and sell it, you know? And I started kind of like writing about it. And then I realized everything in there almost I have in my current bug out bag. My size large bug out bag, which was not designed for ultimate long-term, you know, living out of almost everything. There's a couple things I didn't have in there. And so we're going to put together something like that. This is a teaser for that, and we'll show you our long-term bug out bag thing later. Right now I'm going to go put some siding on that house over there. But start thinking about bug out bags. Start thinking about actually using yours. Yeah, forbid if you don't have one, go put one together. I think I also have a video back there on like the 10-minute bug out bag. Do that. You know, have something to grab and go if all of a sudden chaos happens. Because that's what a bug out bag is for. A bug out bag is so that you can get it and go right now with no thought process. It's like, I don't have to think about anything except grab this bag and go and I'll be okay. Because sometimes stuff happens that fast. All right, hey, just some thoughts I'm having this morning while I'm drinking my coffee. I'll see you out there.